British historian Sir Arthur Bryant's rabid bias against the Indian army of the British Company in the Battle of Assaye. Now, as you can see, this is the Battle of Assaye fought in 1803, and as you can see, the fatal casualties of every battalion are given with their name. As you can see, artillery 36 casualties, Her Majesty 78th Foot 24 casualties, 1 by 8 Madras Infantry 47 killed, 1 by 10 Madras Infantry 35 killed, and pickets of various units 21 killed, 1 by 4 Madras Infantry 27 killed, 2 by 12 Madras Infantry 43 killed, Her Majesty 74th Foot 124 killed, 7th Madras Cavalry 10 killed, 5th Madras Cavalry 12 killed, 19th Madras Cavalry 17 killed, 4th Madras Cavalry 16 killed, and the Pioneers 15 killed. This is my hand-drawn map. Total fatal casualties suffered by the British Company in the Battle of Assaye were 428 killed. Now, Sir Arthur Bryant, writing about Battle of Assaye, East India Company's order of battle and fatal casualties at Assaye 1803, and Sir Arthur Bryant's bias in writing about Battle of Assaye in 1803. Now, however, the Second Maratha War broke out and the Marathas were decisively defeated at Assaye by Wellesley and at Laswari by General Lake. At Assaye, 23rd September 1803, Wellesley defeated the Marathas with a native British army of approximately 6,000 troops, out of which 1,500 were of dubious value and reliability, being Mysoreans and Marathas, while the 4,500 consisted of British and native troops who did bulk of the fighting. The infantry consisted of 2 Royal British Army regiments and 5 native regiments of Madras Army, while the cavalry consisted of 1 Royal British Army Cavalry Regiment and 3 native cavalry regiments from the Madras Army. The Maratha army opposing Wellesley consisted of 10,500 Maratha infantry, organized and disciplined on European lines by French officers, and around 40,000 irregular horse. The major reason why the British won the victory was the future victor of Waterloo's brilliant flank march executed before the battle. Wellesley was initially advancing straight towards the Marathas. A battle fought would have enabled the Marathas to effectively utilize their numerical superiority against the British. Wellesley exhibited tremendous coup d'oeil and decided not to attack frontally. Earlier, he had been assured by local guides that there was no ford across which Wellesley could take his army to outflank the Marathas. Wellesley noticed 2 villages opposite each other on the north and south bank of river Ketna and assessed that there must be a ford connecting the 2 villages. A ford was discovered and Wellesley turned the Maratha front, forcing them to change their entire front and to face the British in an area in which the Maratha numerical superiority was nullified by virtue of frontage restricted by two rivers flowing on each flank. British writers generally claim, and the most intellectually criminal British writer here is Arthur Bryant, Sir Arthur Bryant, who generally claim that most of the fighting was done by the European troops in this battle. This statement is totally incorrect. It is necessary to discuss this battle in some detail, since many myths about European troops' invincibility date and originate from this battle as far as the British military historians are concerned. One British historian, Sir Arthur Bryant, is pleased to show only the British regiment on the battle map of Assaye in his book, while totally omitting the native regiments. It is, such a ridiculous and odd piece of military history, Arthur Bryant's book. On face value, it appears that the Europeans did all the fighting, since the total casualties suffered stand out at 644 European and 940 natives. Closer examination of the casualties reveal that only Her Majesty's 74th Foot suffered exceptionally heavy casualties, that is 401, and this happened because this regiment attacked built up area, which was difficult to clear. On the other hand, the other British infantry regiment, His Majesty's 78th Foot, suffered only 105 casualties. High casualties, but less than the four Madras native infantry battalions which fought the same battle, 14 Madras infantry which suffered 116 casualties, 1 by 8 Madras infantry which suffered 170 casualties, 1 by 10 Madras native infantry which suffered 139 casualties, and above all 2/12 Madras native infantry which suffered 222 casualties. Assaye was one of the most decisive battles of India, which destroyed the Maratha Confederacy forces of Scindia and Bhonsla, and as we can see from the casualties, the native troops of the Madras army played a very important part in this battle. It is fair to state that without the natives, the British could not have won this battle. On the other hand, the battle proved that British leadership, organization, and tactics were the greatest force multipliers. No other Indian army of similar size, as small as the British Indian Army at Assaye, could have defeated the Marathas at Assaye. It was the triumph of European way of warfare, using a European led and with a European nucleus, but an essentially predominantly Indian force, to defeat another Indian force which had adopted the European way of war but was still organizationally and operationally far behind the superior British company. This is an extract from my book, History of the Pakistan Army, Volume 1, 1757 to 1948, and this disproves Sir Arthur Bryant's bias. As you can see, for the layman reader, the Marathas were deployed like this. They were massively numerically superior. There was a river in front also, and Arthur Wellesley, marching from the south, was told that there is no ford on the right flank, but he did discover. He saw that there were two villages, and this clearly meant that there must be a ford. So Sir Arthur Wellesley marched to turn the Maratha position's flank. As you see, he turned right, and then he came across and took a position on the Maratha flank. And Marathas, like all Indians, were very poor in operational strategy. Now, operational strategy is defined as modification of plans under the pressure of the circumstances of the battle. There is no exact word in English language. The Germans call it operative. So, Indians were failures in operational strategy. They were reasonably okay in initial planning, but when the enemy took a decision which was against their expectations, they were unable to modify their plans, and that is why the Marathas and all the Indian armies, as you can see, even till 1965 and 1971 war, both Indian and Pakistan armies were a failure in operational strategy. Like in the Battle of Cham in 1971, when General Iftikhar changed the direction of attack from north to south and attacked in the central area at Chak Pandat, the otherwise incompetent Indian GOC of 10 Division was an absolute failure, and the Indians lost Cham salient, but that is another story. Here we just want to refute and disprove Sir Arthur Bryant's bias regarding the role of the European regiments in the Battle of Assaye.